It was wonderful.
Very interpersonal, very chill.
Does that sound loud?
Cool.
I don't think it's on.
Yeah,
No,
just,
it doesn't sound like
Doesn't
it's
sound
on.
loud. Is this
you
one?
wanna try it? I don't know.
Does that sound? No, that's not on.
I
That's
think we just have really junk audio.
Hello? Hello?
Oh,
Can you hear that one?
yep.
Okay, so
at the
maybe you just have to
bottom
yell.
corner of the- It's right here. That's the sweet spot.
You have to hold it like a magnet.
You have to be very mad at it.
You have to
Are you
hold it like a
Yeah.
magnet.
Well, you guys
It's
want
walking now. Oh, okay.
All right, so we're live and recording for YouTube.
Sick. Let's go.
Howdy, y'all. So my name's Lawrence Coffey. I think a lot of y'all know me. For those that haven't had a chance to meet and say hello to you, we very much appreciate you coming out here to support all our founders. So I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm going to turn it over to these fine gentlemen here. I just wanted to say, we're very glad you're here and in the community. This is the beginning of something much bigger that's coming, that y'all will see is coming. We all know there's a big need here in San Antonio around sort of bridging the divide for startups, and getting past the valley of death. So it's something that we all here on this panel are very passionate about, and are come together and are allied together to get through this and to talk about this topic and figure out ways and paths forward. So a lot of what you're going to hear today is going to be based on their journey and how they're getting through it and how they're going through there. But our group and our community here, what we are designed for is to help support these startups within our community, get past, grow, and we can break through the ceiling together and make more successful startups. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Zach, who can talk a little bit more about our group and the sponsors.
Yeah, definitely. So first off, I'd love to thank you guys for joining us today. It really is the community that makes what we're building actually possible and helps us support the various different companies and amazing entrepreneurs that are building in San Antonio. Our goal is to make San Antonio a place where our companies can not just start, but they can grow, they can scale, be successful, and most importantly, stay. And so every one of these conversations and every one of these events through SA New Tech and all the other ecosystem players really helps solidify that. And we just want to bring that all together. So thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Zach, founder and CEO of Nonprofits HQ, a local San Antonio startup that's building software for nonprofit organizations. I'm super excited to be moderating this conversation with a panel of amazing entrepreneurs who are also building really powerful solutions right here in San Antonio. But before we begin with our panel introductions, I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Without them, these events, including these panels, would not be possible. So I'd like to thank TechBlock, who's been a critical supporter of what we've been building at SA New Tech, and they've graciously covered the cost of providing the venues for each of our events, including this space here at Project Cowork. I'd also like to thank Coffee Consulting Group and Nonprofits HQ for their generous logistical support in planning, executing, and ensuring that these events add value to the community. And then finally, CoinClick for our food and beverage tonight, and that's JR's company down there. So let's go ahead and kick it off. I can actually be heard now. Let's go ahead and kick it off with our panel introductions. I'd like each of you to kind of introduce who you are, what your company is, and kind of tell us what stage of growth you're currently in.
Okay. Oh, test. Can you hear me? All right, good. My name is Michael Ramirez. I'm the founder of Avisio.co. Avisio.co helps small businesses generate more web traffic in under an hour a month without help from a marketing expert and a fraction of the cost of hiring an agency. We are in a very early stage in terms of the business. The company's made some pretty nice strides over this past year in generating a partnership with the Better Business Bureau of Central Texas. They have access to over 130,000 businesses that we're hopefully looking to expand with and grow within their network. And I'd say early stage, but we're growing really rapidly, and it feels good to be a part of this panel. So it's gonna run.
My name is Elias Salahuddin. My startup company is Grantiply. We help nonprofits raise more money by helping them produce more grants. You can also use our software for like blogging, brainstorming, copywriting, and social media content and research. We're also in the early stages as well. We've got about 35 customers, and we just won the Geekdom pitch, so that funding was. And then we got an investment a small investment from another foundation. So we have enough money to like last us throughout the year, but I'm also thinking about like next year. So yeah, early stage, but we have a lot in the pipeline as well. So we're just looking forward to the future.
Can you guys hear me? Cool. So, hey everyone, my name is Jesus Bourgois, but you guys can call me JR. I am the founder and CEO of CoinClick, formerly known as Websy. And what we're doing is effectively solving the starving artist problem. You know, there's a lot of creators, a lot of very talented individuals that don't have access to equity or access. So we're offering a platform, all-inclusive, to let them fundraise and promote their brands, promote their projects, and get investment from investors, and these investors get equity. So we're effectively allowing people to IPO themselves effectively on our platform, all-inclusively, except we use the medium that is crypto as a way to do it, making it faster, more accessible, and instead of IPO, it would be more ICO. Also, we're effectively onboarding the entire financial world on the blockchain in doing so.
Awesome. We're very excited to have these panelists with us today, and we're looking forward to a very powerful conversation. So I want to kick things off with Elias. So you talked about winning a local pitch competition through the Geek to Pre-Accelerator, and you talked about a lot of things that you have kind of going on in the pipeline. You're building technology that really empowers organizations to raise more money in a clean, efficient way. What are kind of some of the challenges that you are facing or seeing as you grow your company, and how are the things that you've got coming up kind of solving those?
I mean, my personal challenges for the companies, or what I'm seeing our customers challenges.
Yeah, so let's talk about both of those, right? So let's talk about the challenges that you're facing while delivering your product to your customers, and then how what you're doing solves the problems for your customers.
I think right now onboarding. So we just got an influx of like 25 customers, and so onboarding is something I just didn't think about. Like I didn't know I was gonna get that many that quick. So figuring out how to make sure that onboarding is seamless and they have a good customer experience. How I was able to deal with it right now, how I'm dealing with it now. I brought on the optimized specialist, Christy. She's here in the room. So getting a CRM. I didn't think I was gonna need a CRM that quick. So we're building out a CRM. I think it should be ready very soon. So when I onboard that's going to be, we're hoping that it's going to be very seamless for us, and so we want to make sure that our customers stay happy, that we're able to meet their needs and be able to communicate with them. The problem that we're trying to solve is, I worked 17, 18 years in the nonprofit sector, I've raised over $50 million for nonprofits, and so I saw the pain points that it took to raise money, and I know that, and I was also a foster kid, so I lived in this, and I grew up, in my nonprofit that I was a part of, it was abundance because our CEO and our organization, they knew how to raise money. So I had always had that personal and professional experience in how I wanted to make sure all nonprofits had that abundance of resources and what it takes to raise money through corporations, foundations, and individuals. And so by working in it for 17, 18 years, I wanted to make sure that they had the resources, and so that's why I started Grant Apply, because I know what it takes to raise money, and what all nonprofits tell you is they're wearing a lot of hats and they don't have a lot of time, and so our software on average gives you 30 to 40 hours of time a month to focus on what you want to do, to focus on your mission, while you use our software to help you produce more grants, which is low-hanging fruit when it comes to fundraising.
Definitely, and so your product makes it more efficient or easier. Like, how does your product help these organizations actually achieve more grant funding through grants and produce these grants?
Or our first customer that he was awarded $250,000 while using our software. He mentioned that the workflow, right? So he's able to organize all of his grants in a specific category. So instead of having all your grants on the desktop, you see them all aligned, and you have multiple projects that you can just click and start working on. And so what it does is you upload all your past grants, even content that you have, and then you can just tag any of that content to help you answer your grant questions. So if it takes you 1 minute or a couple minutes to find grant content, copying, pasting, like we can do that in like 30 seconds. So it produces everything in a split second. where, on average, that all that time adds up to about, 30 to 40. What we're hearing and seeing is 30 to 40 hours a month on that time. So if you're making $100,000 a year and you calculate, 30, 40 hours a month, that's a lot of money that when you start working with us, you immediately start saving money.
Wow, that's impressive. And helping your first customer raise $250,000 that's pretty cool. So I want to change gears just slightly and move over to JR. So you're currently building CoinClick in the crypto space, which isn't as defined or prominent in the San Antonio area. Can you tell us a bit about what problems you're solving with your crypto company, CoinClick, and kind of what is your motivator to tackle these challenges?
Yeah, of course. So just to clarify, you said that our product isn't exactly market fit here for the city of San Antonio. Just to make sure you said that, right?
No, I wasn't talking about market fit. In terms of activity around crypto, we have a little bit of Bitcoin, we have a little bit of stuff here, but crypto in itself isn't as prominent here in San Antonio.
Yeah, of course. I spoke to very influential people in the city, leaders, and they all say that San Antonio is relatively kind of slow to adopt into new things. And, for instance, a big reference I like to say is that 6.8% of the entire world population, which is about 560 million people, own or use crypto to some capacity. If you look at that margin here in San Antonio, it's a couple tens of thousands. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe San Antonio has maybe about 1.25 million people residents here in the city. So that's about accurate. So it's a very small number of people who use crypto at any capacity, let alone Bitcoin in San Antonio. But what I like to tell people, and the best way I can put it is, the state of crypto right now is the state that the internet was maybe in the 90s. People maybe in the last few years since 2020 have been releasing all these different crypto products, kind of like what the .com boom was about. They were releasing pets.com, broadcast.com, all these different internet companies for one purpose. So through that same standard, we are effectively playing around with what's new out there. There's, as of 2024, several frameworks, several tools to build on top of on the tool that is the blockchain or crypto. So for us, our target is to help people who are struggling to make a living as a creator, as an artist. And I mean, if you've heard or been around the creator space for a while, particularly in YouTubers, streamers on Twitch, the biggest Twitch streamer right now, his name is XQC, and he was recently VC backed by 100 mil. And that's already a market validation for us. We're seeing that these creators can become some sort of marketing outlet for several companies. I mean, the same way you can see Shaquille O'Neal promoting, I don't know, anything at this point, when it comes to working with Pepsi or with any other company. So, people are starting to see content creators as a sort of form of athlete, or at least getting those kind of level of contracts, kind of like XQC, he got a $100 million investment from a VC, I'm sorry, it wasn't a VC, it was a company. But I digress. So we're effectively seeing the validation there, and we think, hey, that's cool and all, but what if we can help creators, have the opportunity to, that these different big time creators and big time streamers get, but we make it faster and more lean for them. And that's what crypto offers. You don't have to wait 1 to 3 business days to get your money. You can send it as little as seconds, minutes if the network is busy. So that's kind of what we're doing. We have over 100 users on our platform. The blockchain, or the ecosystem that we're building on, has over $500 million worth of daily volume that is being transacted. So, and even though I said there was 560 million people using the blockchain right now, or crypto to some capacity, that's about, about 1% of what we're seeing in the entire space where we're at. So that's our quick target right now.
And so what was your motivation, right? So you're solving this starving artist problem. You're helping people monetize for their content. What is your story? Why are you motivated to solve that? And is the speed of crypto the only reason you chose crypto to solve that, or were there other motivations behind that as well?
Yeah, so I made about $20,000 when it came to mining Ethereum from 2020 to 2021. I got my stimulus check, so I invested in it and I made a good amount of return. So that's what really set me to believe in the space. And I see that, 1 + 1 = 2. So in this case, creators are having a lack of opportunity to get access for funds. They need to use platforms like YouTube, Twitch, maybe even Twitter now, or X. And they're very centralized and they have their own censorship problems. They also have the problems that, if for whatever reason you create content there that they don't like, you can immediately, lose access to that revenue because you'll get banned. So God forbid that happens to you and your brand. So we're creating effectively a platform that is decentralized, because that's what crypto offers at a very high level. It's decentralization. So not only are your earning capabilities decentralized, but also because we're quite literally putting everything that you create on the blockchain, which is this decentralized network, you're kind of immune from being censored, whether that's good or bad. But there are ways, of course, to protect users from bad actors. So, for me, what got me into the space is the incentive that crypto offered for me, making a little bit of money, but also seeing the potential with decentralization and the fact that I was able to run the network on my small computer and made a good amount of money. So I'm like, hey, well, maybe we can give the same opportunity to creators. Instead of being in the hardware, we're doing it at the software level.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really interesting an interesting problem to solve, and positioning with crypto is a really cool way of tackling that. Now, along the same lines of motivation, this next question will be for Michael here. You're solving a problem that a lot of startups and even really large businesses don't fully understand as a problem, right? It's a SEO, right? Often referred to as a giant black box where words on a website get us on Google, right? But there's a lot more into SEO. So with Visio, can you tell us kind of some of the challenges you faced and overcame while positioning your product, and how you communicate with your potential customers that, yes, SEO does actually matter, and it's something that companies should care about?
Yeah, indeed. That's it. Like the challenge was people don't understand it. They see it as a big black box. So it was really positioning when it comes down to, I think for me first was like seeing an opportunity there. As like a lot of people, it scared a lot of people away in a sense where like this is an industry to stay away from because it's overcrowded or people just don't understand it enough. I saw it as an opportunity to be like, as a marketing first person, there's a branding issue there. How can I fix if I just look at this problem and be like, wow, people are talking about it the wrong way. If I just created a high level of transparency, tell people like what's behind it, have an easy way for people, like anyone today, access it, plug in your website, run a scan, here's a to-do list by color, red means bad, yellow means like, okay, green means good to have. Like I just wanted to streamline this entire process because I knew there was a huge branding issue and there was a huge opportunity. And for me, I was like, well, I haven't seen any other company really do a good job at making it super accessible. And for me, I saw like an opportunity in a sense where it's just like, how can I turn a very niche product into something that's like a commodity that anyone could access? And I saw that as an opportunity because I see so many people or so many businesses that need SEO. They don't do it because they either don't have the budget, they don't understand, they don't trust people, or they've been burned. What if there was just one central place where they could just we just leveled the playing field. I bake in 15 years of knowledge that I have in this industry into a platform that just anyone could use, including my own mom. Like my mom could access it and be like, oh, that's bad, let me work on this. It's there. To me, I saw that as an opportunity. So I think that's where it was. It's like I started my consulting company. I started off as a consultant after being laid off from my first job. And when I got laid off, the founder was telling me, we're gonna outsource these projects to another agency. I was like, why would you outsource to anyone? Like I know these clients, we had a little bit of like money left, I think like 6 months on the contracts. I was like, just outsource them to me, and he's like, okay. He decided to do that, gave me these accounts. And I realized that a lot of those accounts or those clients had no understanding of what I was doing on a monthly basis. They were just paying us like reoccurring retainers. And they're like, we don't know what you do, but we know it's working. And it's just like, well, that's a problem too. You're paying for something that you have no idea what the hell is going on. So it's just like, I saw the clear opportunity this whole project, when it came to software, came from like being out on the service side, seeing the opportunity, seeing that there's a branding issue, and being like, wow, there's really something that could be there in this niche side, in this niche product, or this niche industry. If I could just transfer that and put it on its head and make it accessible to everyone, like there could be a real opportunity there. So I don't know if it hit exactly what you said, but I think I just kind of like what are the challenges here.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so, as you know, I ran our marketing website, the Nonprofits HQ website, through your scanner, right? And so I did a comparison because I wanted to see, you know, SEO was one, a giant black box for me as well, and two, a very sketchy, scammy place on the internet, right? These consultants and these products. So I wanted to see what I wanted to compare the results of all of these SEO scanners, right? What I think I appreciated a lot about Evisio was that it gave me a clear, transparent report of what I needed to do, and we've got some stuff to do for sure. Versus, you know, a 30-page report of things that I can buy from this consultant, right? So thinking about that, thinking about the streamlined, easy approach to SEO, who exactly is your target market? Are you targeting startup founders like me that know SEO is a thing, but that's about it? Or are you targeting like larger organizations who are more established? Like, where's your sweet spot?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think at this point, since I run a bootstrap operations, and I have since the beginning, so timing is everything. And if I went after small businesses, everyone in San Antonio or agencies, my time wouldn't be as efficient there. So B2B relationships are extremely important. So businesses that offer like business services. So the Better Business Bureau is a perfect kind of example, whereas they sell accreditations to businesses. And so in order for some businesses to have that sticker, that BBB sticker on their window, on their brick and mortar, they have to be accredited through the BBB. The BBB said, well, we want to offer our customer or our accredited companies more. So they added us as a value add as part of their accreditation. So it's like, you know, it's like, oh, we're taking care of your business, you're trusted. We're also going to help you with your online presence. So here's this Evisio product that's going to help you understand what you have to do to your website to enhance it. And they also have the services that can help you get the marketing that you need at a very affordable rate. So in terms of just like who our primary audience is, one, it's like the small businesses themselves, but like I don't have time to go after all of them. So who we're going after as strategically for the business side of things are companies that offer business services and want to have like additional value adds to add our product on there. So looking forward, I'm thinking of Amex, like American Express. I'm thinking of like credit card companies. I'm thinking of business loan companies. There's like Lyft Fund. I'm thinking about all of these companies out there that just want something to help the experience with when they're helping the small businesses and just plugging us in as being a value add there. So I think that's where we're kind of focusing our attention.
Definitely, yeah, and like selling B2B is often a lot easier, but more importantly, you gain a lot more traction a lot faster, right? And the partnerships that you're talking about, right? You sell to Better Business Bureau, and that unlocks everybody that uses Better Business Bureau services, right? So that's a pretty impressive channel. Along those same lines, this next question is going to go to Elias again. So one thing that we've noticed in the nonprofit space is we've been most successful around our tech with partnerships, and so not necessarily selling directly to a nonprofit organization, but selling to umbrella organizations, funders, groups like that. And so that's worked really well for us. And this next question is about how you identify your sales channels and how you decide which one makes the most sense for you to spend your time and effort on to get your company moving forward towards your tangible goals.
Well, right now, I spent 18 years in the nonprofit sector raising money, so I've got a lot of nonprofit relationships, a lot of corporate relationships, and a lot of foundation relationships. So what I saw in the beginning, like going just like nonprofit to nonprofit, it just takes too much time. And so where I pivoted was going to my foundation relationships and getting foundations to subsidize their grantees, right? And so that's what I've been doing, and that's what's been working. It's just going to those corporations that have because they all have a portfolio of a nonprofit, whether it's a corporation or a nonprofit or an individual that I know that's very wealthy. Say, hey, sponsor 10 of your nonprofits, and so that allows me to still chip away at the one-on-one conversations and the one-on-one sales, but I'm trying to do bulk right now with those relationships, and throughout time that's gonna like run out, right? All those relationships, but if I'm trying to tap it, do two angles, And then phase 2, what we're going to do is be able to match our nonprofits to funders, right? And so that's what we're building out in phase 2. We're almost there. We should be able to launch in maybe another 6 months, and then that's going to allow, that's going to speed up our sales pipeline. And then I think phase 3, we want to like focus on federal like grants too. Like how do we work with nonprofits they're in the federal space, and then and eventually we want to work with businesses. There's a lot of small businesses that have to write grants, and they don't know how to write grants, and it's all time consuming. It's very cumbersome. So eventually we want to be able to go to small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and hey, outsource to us and let us help you write grants and or partner with them. And so maybe partnering with some city or counties to work with some of those small businesses, or take them off the list.
Nice, yeah, that's pretty cool. And so you already mentioned that with the impressive traction that Grant Apply has already received and the amazing things that you guys are building, you've ran into kind of some onboarding bottlenecks and some operational things like that you're solving with the purchase of another local startup's CRM and processes like that. So as you're building out this process, are you thinking about some of those challenges that will kind of be multiplied, right, as you tackle these larger foundation partnerships and as you partner with these funders to sell to your their organizations rather?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I don't have all the answers. I think what I'm trying to do right now is build a team around me. When I was a foster kid, I was lucky that I had mentors and to help navigate my life and my journey, and I didn't know everything, but I had amazing mentors around me, and I'm just taking the same approach throughout life. I don't know everything, no one here knows everything, but I think relationships are key, and so if I can surround myself with the right people who've done work with startups or work with businesses, and that's my goal, is just to build the right team, and it's find those people that you meet them, you have coffee with them, or they're recommended, and I'm really good at reading people, and my gut tells me this is a good person, and they can help me out, and so that's what I'm trying to do, is just build a team that could help me get to the next level, because I've never been in this space. I went from raising millions of dollars in a nonprofit to being in tech, and I don't know anything about tech. Geekdom has amazing mentors as well, and it's an amazing space, and I think just being part of Geekdom just really, I believe it just put me in a position, and as you know too, that it really felt like a family in regards to you talk to anyone, they're able to recommend you to the person that you need to talk to or work with to get to that next level. So relationships and asking, and not being afraid to ask, and I don't know everything, so I'm going to continue to ask and just build a team.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I followed you and Grant Apply. The first time I heard about you folks was when you were accepted into the Geekdom incubator, and I've been following kind of what you've been working on, and of course, because you're in the same space as us, and you're doing really powerful things. But I've been kind of following you throughout the various programs, and the things that you guys are building are amazing, and it really helps impact those that dedicate their lives to doing good, empowers them to be able to build these self-sustainable or these sustainable fundraising giving programs and achieve those grants. So that's really cool. Now, along those same lines, this next question is for JR. So as we're talking about how you're identifying channels and how you are identifying your market, how exactly does CoinClick generate revenue, and what has been your experience in that launching a product like CoinClick to the market and explaining how it works and getting kind of customers onboarded beyond the kind of expanding on the starving artist type point you made earlier?
Definitely. So there were a couple of questions there, and I'm going to start by answering what's our business model, how do we make money? It's all transaction fees. We're a social finance platform. The competitive edge we have against, the big social platforms like Meta, and all their products, TwitterX, you name it, is that, they're still living in Web 2 stage, which means they're not, making it so people can, connect their wallets, connect their money on software like we can. So, from day one, we can allow people to make money in our platform. You don't need to grow a following. You don't need to, stay in the platform for X amount of days. If your content is genuinely good and if it's genuinely captivating, you can get money. the same afternoon, the same hour you join our platform. And in fact, we are starting work on a referral program where you refer someone, you and your friend make twice as much by lowering fees for the next few days that you join. So while you're joining and you're financially active in the platform, which is how we make money by our users being financially active, we'll push you in the algorithm. We'll make it so instead of your likes and your reactions be worth nothing outside of Facebook or anything, we make it so it's worth dollars and monetary value from the day you sign up. So that was our first question about the money. Your second question was, how are we validating the market in crypto? Was it outside of San Antonio or like around the world?
Yeah, so that's a good point to speak to, but I was wondering how bringing CoinClick to the market, because there's a lot of people that kind of don't understand the value of crypto and how to use it, right? So when you're bringing a product like this, a crypto social network that helps you monetize your content, when you're bringing that to market, what has been your experience with that?
Oh yeah, so we have a lot to say to that. Probably the biggest one is that the SEC in the US doesn't know what the hell Bitcoin is or what crypto is. So because they don't know it, they're afraid of it. And the same can be said about general users. People who I talk about it, they'll be like, well, isn't Bitcoin, kind of used on the dark web to, move money anonymously? So that's that preconceived notion. But, what we tell people is we don't even mention the word crypto now. We just tell them, hey, you use our platform, you can make money from the moment you sign up. In fact, if you join, we give you starting money so that we can partake in our little app economy. When was the last time you heard of Meta doing that when it's a multi-billion-dollar company? So we have that massive competitive advantage, the fact that we're using crypto. And we don't even need to tell people that we're using crypto because we're not a crypto company. We're a social finance platform. More social media, but also more advertising is the way we would make money down the road, but right now we're making money off of transactions. So the way we tell people, the way we capture a market is by not telling them the things they don't want to hear. And I don't say that to lie to them, I say that to not scare them away. Because if people hear the word, crypto and they're not associated with it, they're gonna think it's the boogeyman. When we tell them, hey, yeah, we use crypto, but at the surface level, you don't even need to know how crypto works. You can reap all the benefits just by joining our platform today. And I think you have one more question for your third one. Was that it?
No, that was it. And so I downloaded CoinClick, and I know nothing about crypto other than it's this magical money that the government doesn't like. And so I posted a few things to CoinClick, and I got tips, and I got I guess what can translate to dollars, right?
Yep.
And so when you're talking about people that don't necessarily understand crypto, I wonder, is that your target market, or is your target market, like you guys are built on the Ethereum coin, right? Or
no, we use this new emerging one that's called DeSo, short for right. Decentralized Social. The founder raised from big VCs like Sequoia Capital, A16C, Pantera Capital, which is an exclusive, the first VC to back crypto, is Pantera. So Coinbase Ventures, big names, they raised over 250 million. The founder's name is Nader Al-Naji. So that ecosystem in of itself has over 5 million users as of today. And the volume that people are moving their money is about half a million. I'm sorry, it's 500 million, it's 500 million. So it's pretty active. So and here's the thing, just by being on the blockchain and being in this ecosystem where there's this all amount of money, people tell us, well, you're building a social network. You need to, you have this chicken and egg problem where you need to first get your users so that we can make money. That doesn't even apply to us as well because we don't have that cold start problem, which is the chicken and egg problem. We connect people's money first, and then they can start creating content, and they're like, hey, I'm effectively getting passive income just by creating content. Like you said, you join our platform and you start creating content, you were getting tips in crypto. You create the post, you forget about it, you go on with your day, and then you log in later that day and you find out you just made like $1 or $2 just from creating content. So I mean, money speaks. There's a reason why Mr. Beast on YouTube is the most subscribed person in the world, because he just gives away money, and that's how his channel and that's how his business model as a company, because also another example of a creator becoming a brand. we see the writing in the wall, and that's what we're doing. We are early in the space because, like I said, there's only 6.8 million people in the world who own crypto. And one more thing I'll say before I go off tangent, and this will be my last point. Just yesterday, today is October 28th, I believe. My watch is dead.
9.
I'm sorry?
29.
Okay, yeah, so the 29th. So one thing I'll say is, just yesterday, the 28th, State of the Economy of USDC, which is short for United States Dollar Coin, which is a stable coin that's pegged to the value of the dollar. First of all, that coin came out in 2018 by this company called Circle, which is Coinbase backed. And they've reached a total all-time high volume of $17 trillion. So again, 6.8 people of the world use crypto, and they're already worth more than most countries' GDP. So the reason what that is because it makes money accessible, it makes it more convenient. It's quite literally an upgraded version of our economy and our money.
Awesome. And so I have one more thing before we move on to back over to Michael. So when you think about social networks, and like, for example, I didn't pay you to use CoinClick when I downloaded it, right? When you think about social networks, there are a lot of kind of red flags or concerns that come into play, like data privacy, data security. When I open your app, I'm not like inundated or flooded with ads based on my other app history and things like that. So like, what is CoinClick doing currently to ensure that your business model, through transaction fees and through whatever other means of revenue you have, still kind of keeps that information protected and safe, and doesn't, you don't end up with a Cambridge Analytica situation again?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, if you look at traditional social platforms, but just about the internet today, or maybe how it's been for the last 5 years, even to this point, there's this thing called targeted ads, where Google is effectively a marketing company, and the way they make so many billions of dollars, and including Meta, they're more as well a marketing company than a social network company. They get as much data from you as they can, even if you don't consent to it. Like, they will spy on your microphone, they will spy on whatever content you're doing, whatever queries you're doing on Google, whatever, the way you engage with content that's presented of you. That's what they collect so much data on you, and they sell it to advertisers. That's how they make a lot of their money. First of all, we don't do that, and we don't need to. We don't have to create a business model that relies on ads, because it's purely transactions, which you look at big fintech companies like Stripe or even PayPal, they make their billions of dollars with transaction fees. So we don't need to use advertisements if we don't want to. I think it would be a big missed opportunity. So the way we are incorporating it is we're doing revenue share, which is a pretty big concept in the crypto space, where, let's say the advertisers pay us X amount of dollars, we'll share Y amount of dollars with our users, or for anyone who engaged with that ad. So it's a win-win situation that we're making. And that's kind of like what we're doing, kind of like I said earlier, the reason why I started this company is because I was very blessed to make money off of being in the space for just less than 2 years at that time, in 2020. So I think we can use this same tool and this same technology to help the starving artists. So quite literally, solving the starving artist problem.
Awesome, that's pretty cool. And yeah, so we're gonna move on to Michael now. Michael, so given your background as in SEO and on that side of tech, you're now kind of delivering a SaaS product, right? Which comes with its own unique set of challenges. So what are some things that kind of surprised you while you were developing and launching this product? And what are some things that let's just do that. What are some things that surprised you during that process?
Yeah, that's a lot of surprises. First of all, I want to know what you did to get tip money on the platform. Like, what did you have to do? What type of...
I got to post just random thoughts that aren't connected to anything or really thought through, and people gave me tips. So I don't know why or how.
It wasn't a dancer or anything. All right, that's good.
No, none of my dad.
All right. I'm gonna look later. I'm just kidding. No, there were a lot of surprises. I think service and software are like two different sides of the brain. I grew up in service. My career was in services. I thought I would naturally migrate over to product because I help develop websites and stuff like that, and it's not the same. I feel like there's definitely a process. It's hard work to make things easy, as most people in product know. I mean, Apple does this constantly, where they make their products super simple, but the work behind it, I'd imagine, is just like it's just got to be grueling. I mean, it's just hard to make things easy, but being in the driver's seat and experiencing that on my own, it was so difficult. I pride myself on being on the marketing side of my experience, but sometimes I realized that I had to take a step back, and I needed to focus more on the product and the user, more so than what I think the colors are going to look like on the website or how beautiful the design is going to be. And so I think that was a challenge for me. That was a big surprise in the sense where it's just like, you can't write beautiful copy and you can't expect great copy and conversions to go hand in hand. It just doesn't work that way, especially in the early stages of a product. You really have to talk to your customers. You really have to do, all the things that the books say. And I wish I read this book. It's called The Product-Led Playbook. And this book is really game-changing in the sense where it's talking to early stage startups on how to look at the process, how to focus on step one, what to look at in step one, what type of metrics to look at from your user's perspective, how to design even your landing page on your home page if you don't have hundreds of thousands of users or people are just hitting your page for the first time. So I wish I read this book before I started, because I did make some mistakes of hiring the wrong developers because I didn't know what type of technologies I needed. Using the wrong software, using the wrong open source platforms without consulting a technical expert at first. So I think for me as a marketer, those were some of the kind of moments that really surprised me. It was you can't design your way out of a good user experience. You need to understand your users, and you need to build it in a very methodical way that's designed to get people where they need to go. And so that's what
Yeah, and I will say, Visio is very easy to use. It's very easy to set up. It's very easy to click through and understand where you sit in terms of SEO for your products. And so I think there's probably a lot of complexity that went into that you developed to make that a smooth process. We deliver SaaS too, and sometimes when we think something is easy or something makes sense, our customers are like, wow, that's really hard to use. So I appreciate the effort that you've clearly put into Visio. Now, while you were kind of launching this product, right? So you came from the kind of the service side, like you said, of SaaS, and you built this technical product. So how did you obtain the skill set or the knowledge that you needed to not just build a technical product or have one built, but get it deployed into production and in a serviceable state for your customers?
Yeah, so I got super lucky because I was working full time at a big healthcare company about 4 or 6 years ago, and they had a product development team from Guatemala that they vetted. So they had to vet this company. They made sure that they were up to code. They made sure they were legit. And so I was working for them. So I didn't have to actually go out and find a development company on my own, because I did that before, and it was I found someone off of Upwork or one of these platforms, and it just didn't work out, as you can imagine. And so I went through this route in a sense where okay, this big organization trusts this company. They were clearly vetted. They had to pass some requirements or some strict requirements to be a part of this healthcare organization, billion-dollar company. And so I found them through there, and I had a working relationship for about 2 years with this company. So I got an understanding of what it was like to work with the product manager, how they actually work with some of our existing products that were on the website stuff, but even more complex back-end stuff as well. So they introduced me to some of their architecture documentation, some of the frameworks, and I'm like, okay, I've never seen this before in my life, but I know it's necessary. And so when I left that company, I went back to that same company that we work with, and I was like, hey, do you guys build other things? You guys work with startups? I have this idea for this product I want to try to do. And I went with them, and they helped me through every step of the way. They built out the architecture on the back end, which was really cool to look at. They're like, here's your engine, here's how AWS is going to connect to it. And I'm just like, okay, this is something I could get behind because I've never seen before, and they're showing me what they're going to build. And I got to just build it take a phased approach. to not go all in and put all my, because like it's like I mentioned, it's a bootstrap organization project, so I've been investing my own money into this. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting screwed and I could trust someone at the same time, and I could build things in phases and I could see the progress as we're moving along. So that's kind of the approach that I took.
Nice. Yeah, and I think like delivering product in, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're building a crypto social network or building a grant product that empowers fundraisers, or building an SEO product that really helps businesses, taking that approach in kind of phases and utilizing your resources and networks, like you described, is really the way to get it done, whether you have those technical skills or you don't, right? By the way, not having technical skills clearly should not be a blocker from building and selling a technical product.
Yeah.
So this next question, and we've just got a couple more and then we'll move on to Q&A, so have your questions loaded up. This next question is for all of you folks. And we can just kind of pass the mic as we answer these. But can you kind of describe tell us what your next big milestone is for your company, the challenges that you foresee in getting there, and then we're gonna follow this up by I wanna learn about how the community, the San Antonio startup community, how we can all help you achieve that milestone.
Awesome. I'll start real quick. Our next milestone is to hit $500,000 in ARR. Within this past year, we're on pace to hit our 100K ARR through one of our, mostly through one of our partnerships, the partnership I mentioned. So in order to do that, it's been really cool to work with this organization, because not only do we get revenue, we get a ton of product feedback from actual customers, from small businesses. So we know what products, we know what features they actually want incorporated into the platform. So all of that intelligence is only making our product better. And so it's a perfect harmony to have a development relationship with an organization that believes in you, they pay real money, and they give you great feedback from your actual customers. So I believe we'll be able to hit that number, relatively quickly, with the current business model of expanding to other like BBBs across the country, other business services, using that model where it's like 1 + 1 = 5 or something like. We're able to really just make those multiples work for us. In order to do that, I'm looking to really connect with other business services in San Antonio. So if anyone sees it has business services, they would like to increase their retentions. So with the BBB, we did a 4-month pilot program, and we were able to increase their conversion rates for renewals for people renewing for accreditations for up to 40%. We made them an additional $130,000 within 4 months. And that's all revenue back into their organization. So they, organizations that work with us, they could keep clients longer, they could get new clients, and they can make additional revenue for their businesses.
That's awesome. One of my goals for 2025 is actually to partner with Vizio. So that we we'll figure that out, right?
Let's do it.
But we want to have, I would say next year we'd like to be at maybe add another 100 customers. That'd be great for us. And then eventually launch the matching portion of our feature to connect our nonprofits to funders, whether that's individual funders, corporations, or foundations. So I think when we launch that feature, it's definitely gonna scale our company. How you can hear about, if you know anyone that's in that foundation corporate space that have grantees, or nonprofits that are needing to raise more money, we'd love to work with them and talk to them. I think each and every one of us, we have all been personally affected by something. Personally, if I sat down with each and every one of you, there's probably a cause that you care about or an experience that you've had that personally, and so I think we're all very we're 1 degree away from something that's happened in our lives, or we're connected to somebody that's been through something. So, and that's the beauty about nonprofits. If governments can't fix it, it's up to us to be a part of a cause to make a difference. And so I think we're all connected, and I'd love to work with any nonprofit that you're currently connected with.
Awesome, guy. Awesome work, guys. Sorry, I couldn't speak for a minute. Awesome work, y'all. So for us, a lot of things are happening right now. We're kind of in the middle of rebranding, which is quite a feat. So with that said, we're also relaunching our mobile app, which is where some of our first 150 users were at. We want to release our web app. because the biggest problem we've had, and something I didn't get to answer sooner, is, you know, because of all the lack of regulation and clarity of regulation in the US, we're having such a hard time releasing all our features and fully releasing in mobile app. So we were in test flight for beta testers where we made 150 users. And our, you know, and even though the transaction fees we were making were, the amount of money we were making in transaction fees was pretty low. We made about 3,000 transaction fees at some point for just 150 users. So our next goals are to, you know, make a lightweight mobile app where where Apple won't stop us from releasing. We will fully release our features in our web app as far as what we envision. You know, people will be able to fundraise. They will be able to create their content. And as far as advertisements, you know, they won't have to watch they won't have to watch ads from different companies. People can pay us for a fee and we will push their content, their posts, a X amount of posts to the algorithm, and that's one way they can promote their brand as well. You know, so we're gonna release all of that in the next coming months, and our North Star metric or North Star KPI would be transaction fees. Well, there's two: transaction fees and the amount of transactions. We want to, you know, with transaction fees, make close to 5,000 in monthly recurrent revenue, and we also want to reach maybe about 10,000 monthly active users within the next year or two.
Cool. And then, yeah, so where can people learn more about your products, right? Whether it's a website or a social account, and this, again, is for everybody.
LinkedIn, Instagram for us, grantapply.com.
Visio.co is the best place for us. LinkedIn, I feel like we're getting a lot of like trash and like spam and stuff, so don't hit me up there. Or follow me if you want.
Yeah, you can always follow me on Twitter or X. That's where I'm pretty active. John Cena, the former wrestler, is following me there. So I just want to throw that there. So I feel the pressure to just create content there and promote my business. But if you just want to follow CoinClick, you can go to coinclick.co or co.
Cool, and we'll send that information about how you can reach out to these companies and these founders in an email to all attendees and with a survey about the event. So please fill that out and please connect with these founders. Now we have a few minutes for questions. Are there any questions for anybody on the panel today?
I had a question. So recently, someone on LinkedIn, your favorite channel, put a post talking about sort of the future of San Antonio and where we're at today. It was a map that was shared. San Antonio wasn't on the map. I looked it up. We have about 48,000 technologists in San Antonio, which puts us about the same level as like Kansas City and some other places. So we're in the national scene. But if you look at places like Dallas, Dallas has about the same, it's about 360, which is about what the whole state of Washington is. So from a statewide, we're about 6%. I think what y'all are all doing here, 5 years from now, y'all are gonna be successful, right? So, you know, where do y'all see sort of 5 years down the road, what skills based on where you're gonna be having success do you see the market going? Obviously, it's going to be your contribution, but that's going to be obviously, even if you have offshore talent and have a blended team, you're going to be building folks here. So some of this is like, obviously the tech might be different 5 years from now, but from your vantage point, where do you see technologists? We have cyber. I know AI is the tip of our tongue. What else is going to, like in that future generation, what are we building towards, do you think?
Well, I don't know how to answer that question, but
Sorry, put you on the spot.
yeah, I don't know how to answer that question, but I'll try. You know, I got a ton of nieces and nephews, and you know, they don't want to go to college and have college debt. You know, they want to be entrepreneurs, right? And I see entrepreneurship really big in the, you know, very affluent schools, right? And I don't know once we become successful, like I want to, you know, take more entrepreneurship to the lower income communities, because what it unlocks in their mind. A lot of them are just trying to survive, right? They're trying to, they're working and helping paying bills with their families, or their grandma's taking care of them instead of their mom and dad, right? Or they don't have mom and dad, right? And they don't have time to have a scholarship to be driven around and being part of entrepreneurship. So I think personally, like, I know San Antonio is one of the lowest income cities in the nation, and or one of the most segregated, economically segregated cities in the nation. I'm not sure if I'm correct about that, but I know education is a problem in the city, right? And as the tech is booming here in San Antonio, as people are moving towards San Antonio, because Austin is so concentrated, I think there's an opportunity for us to really tap into the next generation to make sure that they understand that they can be anything that they want to be, and with us as business leaders or successful business companies, that make sure that we pay it forward to that next generation so they can build, right? And so that's the best way I can answer that question.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer it. To be honest with you, I can't tell you what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. I think I'll still be alive, but I'll still hopefully be successful with CoinClick.
Let's be optimistic.
But you're not wrong. But my point being is, I'm just focused on our next goals, which I just detailed. What our next 12 months, 24 months goals, which is to release, focus on our KPIs. I think I've also spoken to, I think that's the way to go, because I've spoken to some successful mentors in Geekdom, which I owe them a lot of my success till this point, because they've been through it. I spoke before this event, for example, with Ben Jones. He is really busy with Columbia, but one thing he said is that for Skipcart, he didn't really plan like his exit strategy. He was just focused on building today, creating value to his users, and how to, for those of you who don't know Skipcart, how to make grocery delivery faster. It started with a day, and then it got to, that same day getting their groceries to 12 hours to 5 to 15 minutes. And by the time they were focusing on 15 minutes, they were they were making like $60 million in ARR. They were giving so much value, so much convenience to the users. So I believe, that's gonna be, we'll see what happens. To be honest, I think that if we continue to focus today in giving our users value and convenience, that maybe in 5 years we'll be successful and we might become a market leader, because only 6.8 of the entire world population owns crypto. I believe in 5 years that's going to become at least double, if not triple.
So what does San Antonians need to study to learn to be that part of that future workforce?
Yeah, so I think San Antonio, there's some really good opportunities here for the crypto space. There's monthly blockchain meetups, hosted by someone who is a blockchain investor. They have speakers in the blockchain space for Bitcoin. And I'm also hoping to become more involved here. Once I'm successful with CoinClick, I do hope to start a nonprofit in San Antonio that pushes people to the blockchain space.
You got friends here to help you.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Absolutely, yeah, we should definitely chat. I would also like to add on to these answers, because one of the things that you mentioned, Lawrence, was that San Antonio is kind of known for cybersecurity. They're kind of known for those DOJ kind of military adjacent things. But I think what we're seeing, and we see that represented in this panel right now with JR, Elias, and Michael, that we have a future where San Antonio is known for more than just cybersecurity, more than just these big things that everybody's talking about right now. As these companies are building and these companies are becoming successful, San Antonio starts becoming known as a place where SaaS products can thrive and be successful, known for the efforts there, where nonprofits actually matter enough to build tech that really supports and empowers them, where crypto becomes a place where you can not just dabble and then go to Austin, but you can come to San Antonio and find what you need to build and use crypto. So I think as all of these companies and the companies that we see on our other panels and other SA New Tech events and throughout the ecosystem become more successful, they're defining what San Antonio becomes in 5 to 10 years. And I think that's a really important and really powerful thing to point out.
Absolutely, 100%. You hit the nail on the head there. So I hope I answered your question, but that's pretty much what I have to say. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No,
Actually, I just want to say one thing about that. It's just like in terms of the skill sets, like I moved back from Austin to San Antonio. I lived in Austin for 18 years. And I've seen just kind of the wave that kind of came through Austin and just kind of how it kind of fizzled out a little bit, at least in my opinion. And I see just kind of the rise here happening in San Antonio with like economic development, how much the city's like investing, into the city in certain parts. And I feel like what made a lot of companies successful in environments like Austin were like, it's kind of like with back in the day with the gold rush, it was still the companies making the shovels, you know, like the people who were building the tools that helped other companies become successful were the ones that were consistently there, never really went out of business, they stuck around a bunch. So like marketing tools, you know, that's why I say marketing is a big kind of component when it comes to helping small businesses. I think San Antonio is doing a great job of like, the San Antonio AMA and Marketing Association, we're both in that, so shout out to them, like keeping that community really thriving and wanting to attract some of the best talent, marketing talent in the city and in the area. So I feel like a lot of that kind of plays into it in the sense where it's just like the people who are building the resources, the tools to make things more efficient to help, you know, companies thrive with and eliminate a lot of the excess work and get people noticed as well, like with your product as well. So I feel like that is what kind of made the city kind of happen in that environment. That's what really excites me about San Antonio is that it's super ripe here. There's a lot of opportunity. It's affordable living. I can bootstrap an operation, a company, and still live, you know, a life of like a comfortable life in this city. And I have a community of other folks who are building alongside with me that are inspiring. And there's communities like Geekdom that are really helping entrepreneurs to really thrive. So I feel like this is the place, this is the spot. It's going to happen 5 years. I mean, I'm excited about the next 5 years. I feel like a lot of the skills when it comes to like data scientists, art, you know, even creatives, engineers. But I think as long as you're building the things, you're building the shovels and the resources for these companies to really thrive here, I think you're going to have a lot of success.
Any other questions for our panel?
So, I know that it's very challenging, and I just commend and applaud all of you for taking that first step. You know, basically having a concept in your mind and actually bringing it into fruition. There's a lot of challenges that businesses and startups face. Given my background, I think with the people that I work with, the small businesses, I guess my question is, what are the biggest financial challenges or questions that individuals in your space have, and how can individuals that possess that information be more of, you know, advocates and really help to grow your businesses? What can we do to just kind of, you know, help you flourish and grow into whatever it is that you desire to be?
So I think you're asking what, okay, can you rephrase it, because I'm...
What kind of support can people that support the community?
So, like, I guess the biggest question is there's a lot of financial challenges, right? Like in terms of money, like
Yeah.
questions that you have, right? What can somebody that actually works in finance provide organizations like yours in terms of support? What kind of things are you looking for?
You work for a finance company, I believe, right?
So yes, I'm a financial advisor.
Yeah, so I mean,
that's what
like,
I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. So I mean, you may or may not have the ear of the CEO or the second in charge, but like, you know, sitting down and you know, sharing like how San Antonio is growing, how the ecosystem, how the startup community is growing, and advocating and it's kind of like starting your own nonprofit, not really starting your own nonprofit, but like galvanizing your internal community at work to set up a fund to maybe partner with Geekdom or to partner with or fund institutions or startups that are maybe aligned with your financial pillars, right? So you being that advocate internally to pull in that CEO, or you may be CEO, or you bring your team together to bring those financial resources to the startup community. All banks got to give money away. I know, because I just left the bank today, and we got $50,000 coming to the school that I work with. And so banks got to give money away, but how do you carve out some of that money for the startup community so that it raises your profile personally, internally within your organization? It raises your bank's profile, and everyone wins, and the startup wins as well. So it kind of starts with you, right? So my opinion.
I would also add to that, like, so as a startup founder, and like I do a lot of mentoring and conversations with other startup founders, there's a lot of like kind of unknown bullshit around what finances for startups look like, right? You're told to go raise capital, right? Well, how exactly do you clearly do that, right? How exactly do you do that? It's going to be very dependent on your situation, depending on what you're doing, and you, guess what, can't do that in San Antonio, really, right? So what is your alternative, right? Generate revenue. I think we need to start talking about businesses building sustainable business models where they are generating revenue as early as possible, they're getting their product out there as early as possible, and they can start being self-sustainable. They don't necessarily rely on outside funding or capital to get building. Now, there are gonna be some things that are very capital intensive, right? And unless you have a few $1,000,000 in the bank, you're gonna have to raise. But I think in terms of the support that Isaiah, you, and people in your space can provide to these startups is, what do you do to track that money as you are generating that revenue, right? What do tax requirements look like? What does accounting look like? I mean, we have QuickBooks, and thankfully Alberto knows how to use that, because if it were up to me, our finances would be a mess, right? And so we have all of these different tools and all these different processes. I would say the way the financial community can really support startups that are building here in San Antonio and anywhere across the world is to help demystify all that crap in a very accessible, non-gate-kept way, right? Make those resources, make that education available to these startups, and help them actually understand how they can run healthy financial programs inside their companies.
100%. So,
Mic drop.
you've said it. So you know, for my case, you know, how have I been able to successfully fundraise for my company, and what I would advise for anyone coming into the space, because you know, it's like if you keep up with Y Combinator, there's always room for multi-billion-dollar ideas or businesses to come up out of nowhere. So startups are not going anywhere. But how would they fundraise? Well, if you go to Geekdom or any other startup here in the ecosystem, you know, most of them have a full-time job, and then they're doing their startup on the side. Until you can, you know, generate enough revenue where you're living off of it, and you can pay your team and then some. So if you're not at that stage, you know, and you don't know what to do, obviously, highly recommend you go to Geekdom, and then once you go through the programs and you know, are successful to your level, in your own way, of course, successful, you know, the next step would be to start fundraising. You know, after that, I would argue TechBlock is where it comes along. TechBlock, you know, they connect you to people, they can help you connect to resources, several other things in the ecosystem. And then after that, you know, or somewhere in the middle, you can actually connect to individuals like San Antonio New Tech, you can connect with people. So, you know, the reality is, you know, it kind of sucks, you know, to fundraise. It's a full-time job on top of a full-time job of running a startup, on top of whatever full-time job you have that is paying the bills and your electricity. So, you know, I'll be honest, you know, I've donated blood to make it by. And, you know, I've made like $200 or $300 in the process of a few months or so. So when you gotta pay the bills, you'll find your way. And you know what? Just how the muscle, if you work out and if you're active, if your muscles need friction and resistance to grow. So that's our mind. And if we want to become successful entrepreneurs, we need to go through this hardship so that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel and really appreciate and see where we're going. So that's the reality that I want to tell you. You know, you need to, one way or another, figure it out how you're going to make it until you build enough KPIs, you build enough traction for your company. That's where it'll be a lot easier for you to fundraise. And who knows, maybe you can say, hey, I've quite literally put my blood in this company, so I'm pretty damn serious about it. And maybe investors, angel investors, will be a lot more susceptible to give you a paycheck. So that's my advice.
Awesome, and so that wraps it up for this evening at SA New Tech. Can we get another big round of applause for these amazing founders? So we will be sending around an email to all the attendees with a survey. Please fill that out so we know how to move forward with these different events. We host a panel every quarter, and we host monthly events in between those. So input from you folks. Additionally,
Capital Factory.
oh yeah. What?
Yeah, so just a big breaking news for everybody that doesn't know. We're going to be going into, we're growing. So in addition to the quarterly, every quarter, we're going to continue hosting with TechBlock and with our sponsorship and partners and support from Geekdom and other community members within the community. Shout out to all of our sponsors that we have had throughout. As well, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor here. I don't know if you want to say a few words from last time. Okay. So we have DigiBoost podcast present here as well. The Boost.
Let's go.
So thank you very much. They were our sponsors last time. But going forward, we're also going to go into a monthly series. So we'll be at Capital Factory on 11/19. And we'll also be there again on January 7th. And then going forward next year, it'll be the first of the month, every month. And then we'll continue to have the quarterly here. Right now, the plan is, I think, March, February. We'll have to, that's a couple of months out, so we'll let you know the dates then. But I just want to make sure Capital Factory next month, 11/19, save the date. I'll turn it back over to my co-host.
Yeah, cool. So just one more thing. If you have a startup or know a startup that would like to be featured in one of our events, whether it's a quarterly panel or one of these events that we're hosting at Capital Factory monthly, reach out to Lawrence or I. Additionally, if your company would like to sponsor something we're doing, please reach out to us as well. It really takes a community to impact change, and it really takes a community to move things forward, and that's what we want to do with SA New Tech. Thank you so much for coming, and don't forget to follow us on socials.
Thank you, Wade.
Thanks for the opportunity, man. I owe you.
Let me stop this.